Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Today is the 5th, January the 5th, 2021. Glad to have you guys here. Now, listen, we need to be watching. If you're interested in gold, if you've got gold, silver, or Bitcoin, you need to be watching these Senate races that are going on in Georgia very carefully right now. Because if the Democrats win these two Senate seats, they'll have control over the Senate. And I'm going to tell you what. If the Republicans win, then they won't have control over the Senate. Now, this is a big deal. You remember the $2,000 checks? Well, the House passed it. They were going to send out the $2,000 checks, but the Senate blocked it. Now, here's the thing. If they get control over the Senate, then I see this as being net positive for gold and silver and cryptocurrencies, because they're going to implement policies. They'll be able to implement, just the money flow will be unrestricted completely. Now, with Janet Yellen being the Treasury Secretary, and you know what a dove she is. You know, she's an uber dove. And on the other side of that, you know, when you get that closed loop, you get the lender of last resort and you get the borrower of last resort together. Well, you've got infinite money creation. Let's get started right here, and let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on with this. Georgia voters are heading to the polls today, and so we'll probably know by tonight who will control the U.S. Senate. It's happening right now, right this minute. They're going to decide the balance of power in Congress in a pair of high-stakes Senate runoff elections that will help determine the President-elect Joe Biden's capacity to enact what may be the most progressive governing agenda in generations. Okay? And so we're going to know about that tonight. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about real quick before we move on is this new virus variant, this new, what they say it could be up to I've heard news reports, up to 70% more contagious version of this coronavirus. Well, here's one of the big questions I've got. A huge question in my mind is they've already said that it's not more deadly than the original coronavirus. They've already said that. They've stated that it's not more deadly. In other words, not more virulent, or however you pronounce it. My big question is it less virulent? Is it less deadly? That's my big question. Because I haven't heard anything. I'm trying to find this information out. There's very little information on it yet. But I was just thinking to myself, what if it's way less deadly? You know? And being as it's 70% more contagious, well, I mean, if we weren't able to stop the original one, we certainly wouldn't be able to stop this. But what if it's way less deadly? Way less deadly. What if it's no more deadly than a common head? I don't know. Maybe it's no more deadly than a common head cold for us because we've got no information to tell us. So, but I guess we might start finding out as more people start to actually have it and they test more and they start to understand it better. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Let's take a look now at cryptocurrencies today. See what they're doing. $876.1 billion. We're looking at a Bitcoin price of $32,146. Now, I'm going to tell you what's happening here in this market. It's going through these little things where it'll fall off. You know, it'll fall off a couple thousand, 1,000 or 2,000, you know. And it bounces right back. This is weak hands being flushed out. Now, normally in a market, you know, when weak hands start to get flushed out, there's a lot of profit taking going on. Generally, what happens is you get a decline in the price that's called a correction. But generally, it's a lot bigger correction. We've went through a couple of these now, and I'm going to tell you, this market's extremely bullish. I don't think we're going to see the end of this bull run in cryptocurrencies until we see the altcoins or the secondary coins from Bitcoin. They're called altcoins, and there's thousands of these different altcoins. Until we see the price a lot of money move into these altcoins. I don't think we're going to see the end of this rally. And that's one of the things I'm watching for. And how you can tell is the Bitcoin dominance. Right now, the Bitcoin dominance stands at 68.3%. You see that Bitcoin dominance fall back, and you see these altcoins take a big bounce up in price. That's, I think, when we're getting really near the end of this rally, and ready for a correction. But it hasn't happened yet. We haven't seen the Bitcoin dominance fall back. We see that Bitcoin dominance fall back like below 60%, I would say. That's when you're going to see we're getting, I think, close to the end of the rally, And then when that reverses and they flood back into Bitcoin, that's when she crashes, That's not really crashes, but that's when she really drops. I don't think Bitcoin is going to crash like it crashed last time when it went up to 20,000 and went all the way back down to, what was it, 3,000 or something. I don't think you're going to see that happen again. This time, when we get a correction, I don't think it's going to pull back near as far. Not near as deep as that one was, So if you're waiting to see under $10,000 Bitcoin again, I don't think you're going to get that opportunity anymore. Silver price today, 27,000. 20. We wish. Someday. You never know. The dollar hyperinflates. You never know. I might be saying $27,000 silver. $27 silver. $27.29 today. Hope I didn't get you guys too excited. Anyway, 27.29. But the thing about it is, gold and silver took a pop up in price yesterday. Now, they've maintained it really well over the past 24 hours. I've been watching. There hasn't been a slide back down to those lower levels. So it's maintaining its price. Let's take a look. That's a good signal. Gold, 1944. So it's getting up near that $2,000 mark again. Right now, it's up $2.10 on the day. Let's take a look now at the Dow Jones. It's off 27 points today so far. 30,196 for the Dow Jones Industrial Average today. I'll tell you about the markets. The markets are in a different state completely than gold and silver or cryptocurrencies. The markets right now are peaked. They're peaked. And when the new stimulus comes out, I'm going to tell you, for the markets too, an awful lot relies upon what happens in Georgia. This is going to be a 4-year thing, and if they can get control over the Senate, why, we might get programs out there like UBI, Universal Basic Income, might come out, And these programs will pump money into the lower end of the system that's suffering, but it's also, what's it going to do to the dollar? Ultimately, the dollar's its demise is coming, but this is the difference between a slow demise and a quick demise. And it's all coming down to that Senate race today. So keep your eye on that very carefully. We'll know by tonight. We'll know what's going to happen there. Let's take a look now on crude oil, $49.60 today. Crude oil's moving upwards today. The MOVE index, we got to keep our eye on this. The MOVE index is starting to creep up again. It started to creep up back just for the last number of days. Let's see, December 24th, I guess. And it's been creeping up every day. The MOVE index been shooting up. It started out, it was 42, and now it's up to 49. About 75 is the point where I really start to keep my eye on the MOVE index. Because this is your credit markets. And everything's credit. Everything is credit. And instability, if this goes over 75, we get instability in the credit markets. And then the Fed has to react. They will react to this more than they'll react to what the people. The people out there can be suffering and everything else. They won't react. They'll react to this MOVE index, because they don't want to freeze in the credit markets. Can't say I blame them. Bonds and rates today. We're seeing this long end of the yield curve creep up. They will not let that go too far, too. There's another thing that they will react to, is these bond yields in the long end of the yield curve. And they control the short end of the yield curve, but they don't really control the long end of the yield curve unless they step right in and decide to control it. And through what's called yield curve control. And they can do that, you know. And I think they're going to have to, because left unchecked, I think the long end of the yield curve is going to take off. I think the bond market's going to explode, and the long end's going to try to take off, and they're going to have to do yield curve control to keep that long end down. It's already starting to move up, you know. And I think the point where they'll do yield curve control is on the 10-year. I think the point would be around 2%. I think they'll come out with yield curve control, and I don't think they're going to let the 30-year go above about 3% before they do yield curve control. And I think we're on that move now, up to those numbers. And I think you're going to see the Fed step in and stop the bond yields from rising anymore. U.S. dollar index today, basically what they do is they buy the long end of the yield curve. They can also buy the stock market. Janet Yellen's already talked about doing that. It hasn't been implemented yet, but they can. They can actually buy the stock market too. They can do it. Don't underestimate what the Fed can do. Don't say they're out of tools. It might surprise you, the things that they can come up with. They're very inventive, you know, and they can enact these policies almost immediately, overnight. You just wake up the next day, it's in all the headlines. This is what the Fed did last night. You know, so anyway, thank you guys for listening to the show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. Bye-bye.